Nice. So sure, I'm just going to like cue you when I need the next slide. It's really nice to be here. Just hearing everybody's introduction, it's a great mix of people, and a lot of things I want to talk about this talk are nothing new, but I'm just putting an arts angle on it. There's a lot of civic projects and a lot of sort of startup projects deal with mass markets, but there are a lot of sectors that are sort of underfunded and are really just being left behind as technology is sort of transforming certain sectors, and the arts is actually one of them, and that's where I've been working on. So the topic is digital infrastructures for the arts. That's the conversation I'll have with interested people. But to sort of back up a little bit, 2 examples I want to go through quickly. First one, who recently have purchased tickets online and got charged service fees? How many of you have liked getting charged those service fees? So why is it still there? I mean, some of us here probably still remember why those fees exist in the first place, but does anyone want to fathom a guess? So why there are convenience fees and service fees?
Getting people to handle things.
Yeah, before technology. Before technology, and when venues actually said to the renters, saying, you know what, we're going to set up a little box office, and there's a handling fee because there's a cost of maintaining this, and our renters are going to love it. We're not going to charge too much compared to what they're actually paying for the rent, and the audience will love it because they can pre-commit and know that they've got a ticket to the show. So the idea that it started with was great, but when ticketing businesses adopted technology, all they really did was completely replicated that old business process and said, well, let's just put it online. That makes perfect sense. And because they're monopolies, then there's really no incentive for them to change this model, and this is how ticketing and online services across the board, any one of them, makes money. The technology itself is not difficult, but the business is really based on existing connections, existing relationships with venues, or specific genre, let's say sporting events or conferences. So that's something to sort of keep in the back of your mind. Nobody likes community fees, but that's what the technology adoption in that business sort of manifested. The second example, and how many of you here are sort of communications marketing people here? I noticed I mean, all of us here are probably social media savvy people already. So word of mouth marketing, the answer to this question, has always been the cheapest and most effective form of marketing, especially in the arts, because people who like the kind of art talk to each other, and that's how I discovered a lot of art, and that's how I introduced a lot of people to different performing arts events. And social media sort of came on the scene about 10 years ago, and it was kind of like word of mouth marketing, because people's niche and specific interests were really obvious and clear. But now, social media is really mass media dressed up as word of mouth marketing. And what's happening is that sectors like the arts and culture sector are getting sucked into this vortex of tweets and feeds, and they're spending extra time that they can't afford to sort of maintain their social media presence, but they don't know what they're getting back from it. Effectively, it's spamming. It happens every time there's an event that happens, and completely drop dead after, until the next event. So any momentum they've gained is completely lost. So in both these cases that I brought up, the social media and the ticketing, these are things that artists and audiences both complain about. I can't find the show that I want. I know it's out there in Toronto. There's so many cool artists and talented performers. Where the heck are they? And from the audiences and artist side, why are the ticketing fees structured in a way that they're gouging off my ticketing prices, and the audiences are paying extra for something that really they should be paid to do, which is handling the ticketing, purchasing, selling process. And so that's where BMuse Network comes in. Currently, if you go to bmusenetwork.com, what you see is essentially a ticketing platform. But behind the scenes, what it is the beginning of a larger infrastructure to facilitate all the touch points between the entire ecosystem. So starting with audiences and performers, we also have venues, managers, and presenters. And everyone sort of has slightly different needs. Everyone is building their own solutions or adopting existing technologies with disregard to what other people are doing. So we have all these little pockets of networks that are not talking to each other. And people don't really know what they're doing. They're just trying to do what they used to do, but a little faster. Even though in the end they actually end up spending more time because they're not effectively using the technology for their ultimate goals. So the next slide. when I talk about the news network this way, it gives a very different picture than just the ticketing platform. So for now, it's really simple. We tell the artists our fees are structured in a way that we maximize their revenue. Our fees are between 5 to 7% inclusive of credit card processing fees, which is pretty much unheard of. And on the audience side, we insist that we do not charge any convenience fees to the patrons. And on both sides, we are getting incredible feedback. Patrons actually taking the time, right? It's like, thank you so much for not charging fees. And artists realizing that, there's actually an alternative to other ticketing services. One data point that's going to be of interest to the data science folks here is that what you get when you have an art-specific ticketing platform is that you have really interesting audience behavior. Because if you're on Eventbrite or Broadway for Ticket, you may be tracking the behavior based on, let's say, performing arts events or sporting events. What we have actually are patron profiles that we can sort of feed back to the artist in the general aggregated data. So for example, what's the percentage of my audiences that come back to all my shows? How many of them actually go to a jazz show versus a ballet performance? All these little data points might not seem sort of, mind-blowing information, but from a marketing perspective, and remember, these are artists with zero or negative marketing budgets, knowing that simple piece of information that I'm a string quartet, and I think I'm competing with this other string quartet, but when I compare numbers, I realize our overlap of audience is actually quite low, then that's going to encourage me to find ways of maybe co-presenting a show together instead of feeling this sense of competitiveness or just this intuition that, well, I don't know who I'm supposed to be collaborating with to grow my audience. Or even the location, how many people are traveling far away to come to my show versus people that are right around the neighborhood downtown. This helps artists in terms of choosing their next venue, which is often high risk because they're choosing a new place, it takes additional money, they can lose money on it. And these are the kind of data that we're building behind the scenes. We've been around for about 3 years now, so we're just at a point where there's actually interesting data from year over year that we can share back to the artists. And I've been talking to a lot of different performing arts organizations to bring the tech literacy sort of up. Digital infrastructure is kind of invisible. And the conversation I'm sort of having with these arts organizations is that the news network needs to exist because there's not a group that's sort of mandated to say, well, let's look at this collective sector-wide problem and look at it from a technology perspective and actually come up with collective sector-wide solutions that will benefit everybody. The reality on the ground is that everyone is overworked. They're constantly running after grants, especially when funding goes up, more opportunities than ever increases. And so it's really hard for any one organization to carve the time to think sort of overarchingly about the collective good. And the risk of this is really, at the moment, there's really no huge sort of detriment to the sector, but I can see over time that the art sector won't have ownership and control over the digital infrastructure that they need, purpose-built for them, but instead it's going to be led by whatever trends or momentum the larger technosphere is going to define for them. This is how technology runs our lives, and the arts and culture sector is just going to be sort of stuck in this moment and realizing, well, we should have worked on this problem 10 years ago, but by then it's too late, it's too costly, and the problem will be even more complicated. So I'm hoping tonight that I can connect with some people here that are interested in this topic. This is our mandate. It's really looking at both sides, trying to connect audiences, trying to pull people together. We're a team of 5, so myself as the founder, more the community person with a classical music background. We have a system architect and also 3 others sort of doing the front-end, back-end needs of the project. And right now it's only in Toronto, so we're looking to grow to other cities. The system is already scalable, but we don't really currently have the capacity to reach out to other cities and get the word out. And so it's a really exciting time for us at the News Network. And later this month, we're having an open house. And I think, I don't want to take over the organizer's role, but I'll float the idea out there that maybe if there's enough interest, we could have a satellite sort of civic tech hack at this open house so we know it's on the same night of people interested in sort of this arts infrastructure topic. Because it's a great place to connect technologists and civic-minded, people like this group, and the people from our community who are performers, presenters, managers who recognize this is a need, and they're desperate to connect with people that they can collaborate with. So hopefully there's an opportunity here for that kind of meaningful connection. And I think I'm going to leave it there and just maybe continue the conversation after the talk.
since you've been up within the last 3 years, what has shocked you and what has disappointed you?
Shocked? Can they be the same thing? No.
Well,
what shocked me was I thought the technology was going to be the hard part. And the technology part was, not the ticketing part, but building something scalable, because the vision is actually a series of microservices. So ticketing is one, then maybe connecting presenters with artists, venue discovery. So building that was quite difficult, and we have it. But what shocked me was that the human factor, wrangling people, was way harder. Like I mentioned before, people are interested in this topic. They understand why this is a problem, why we need a solution. But the sheer burden of work and the existing weight of trying to just chase funding just makes them unable to really fully engage with this. And I realized the onus is on me really to fix that somehow, bring the conversation to them, help them engage with it, instead of assuming they will just pick it up and go. So that's what shocked me. Not much disappointed me. I mean, I wish, obviously, there were more people using it as always. Like, you always want more people using it because it's a useful tool. So nothing has disappointed me, and I think it's just a matter of patience, like a lot of civic projects. It's not going to be an uptake tomorrow, and it's just a matter of, how much are you committed to this, to sort of wait it out. Not wait it out, but just to give people time to realize and see that this is what they actually need.
Thanks. You said you have a classical music background, and I think you probably connected with a lot of classical musicians in the past years. So what do you see as a big trend in classical music?
In what
As in, like, is it like I would imagine the old days would be big orchestras, printing in big concert halls, but I don't know, like.
Oh, I see. So that market still exists and will always exist, which is that top 1% of the classical music, or any performing arts, theater, dance, classical, jazz music, pop music. There's always that top 1% tier that makes a lot of money, performs in big halls. But specifically, the trend we're seeing, and the reason why I built the News Network, is that there's a lot of independent sort of grassroots performers. People coming out of school, they're extremely well trained, really great ideas, and they will produce and create amazing performances on a shoestring. So instead of paying $200 to Mervish, you can pay $20 to someone, and you would have just as good of a time, if not better. So the trend that I'm seeing, and that I think we're not tracking very well in terms of data, are this sort of like long tail performing arts activity and their impact, economic impact, social impact, and I want to help them find a way to sustain a living, because I totally see it as possible. I see them being able to sustain themselves on these performances, on these ticket sales and other sales. But right now there's no infrastructure to support it, so everyone is sort of doing their own thing, and it's not sustainable. So as a trend, I see that going forward, because funding is just more and more challenging, and year over year, I see the growth in that type of performing arts style.
Thanks.
Back there? Right behind you. Sorry.